Why in the world would someone want to come work for an organization that would do anyone like that? That would treat any of its present or former colleagues that way. People watch far more closely what you do than what you say. We can go out and espouse all we want that it's about people and it's all about the people. That worked, but not anymore. This new population is way too smart, way too cynical to go for that. They say, show me rather than tell me. And that's what we have to spend time doing. So I heard this also, is that, as part of this retention game, you got to train me well, develop me well, but you definitely have to treat me well. And then it's I thought treat well would always tie into compensation, and compensation always shows up. I'm not naive. But I continue to be amazed, and we're studying right now, we're working on a study where we're studying companies like Southwest Airlines, who historically never paid the market for their pilots, their flight attendants, any of them. They never competed with Continentals and Deltas and US Airs, all the ones who filed for bankruptcy. They didn't do it. What they did was they trained their people. And any of you all had an opportunity when Southwest used to do their Southwest Day, their training, it was amazing. Their Southwest University or whatever they call it, Southwest College, whatever. It's amazing. Disney, I come from entertainment, is known. I hope, again, y'all are not in the room. They don't pay. Disney's not except their CEO. They don't pay a lot of money. But they can find the best and brightest talent because they've leveraged their brand, not just their outward brand, but their employment brand, training people, developing them, committing to people, treating them well, and that's how they've done it. So we're studying these companies to say, compensation is not necessarily the name of the game. In many ways, it reminds me, I always tell this story, I recently went through a divorce, right? Yes, I can now talk about it because my last alimony check is next month. But, and I'm feeling better. But it was tough, and why I align it to it is because you have to really begin to understand why people leave. It's not always money. I treated her, I had a lot of money, we treated her well, but she still left. And I had to, really? I'm sharing with you my life, but people have to feel like they're number one. And see, I traveled all over the world, and I do what I'm doing. I was Sherm Chair, and I'm doing this, and blah, 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 and so I'm now single. And that's the way these things work. In so many ways, that's what your career is about. These people want to feel cared for. Yes, there's assumption that you're going to treat them and compensate them well. Find out what the market is, and I don't think you have to be at the top of the market, and frankly, you probably shouldn't be at the bottom of the market, but somewhere in between, you can keep people. But what you have to do is spend a lot of time making them feel good, treating them well, compensating them and rewarding them fairly, training them, and most importantly, developing them. That's the key. Now, before I go, the aha of everything, as I prepared for these comments and as I've gone around the country talking to people, is the big aha for me is that training and development of individuals is important, but the most important training and development dollars that you spend will be on your management team. You can come in and train someone all day and all night to do their job well, but if they come in and work for a jerk, or you promote that person who is a good widget maker, but not necessarily a manager of widget makers, you have created a disaster. Everything that you spent your time and your money on goes down the toilet when you bring people into organizations with people who are not ready to be managers. So at a basic level, my organization would poo-poo management 101 training. We needed 101, 201, 301, 401. We needed a lot of management training at a basic level. There is an assumption that because people perform, your highest and best performers, there's an assumption that they're going to make great managers. They don't know. They don't understand as bright as someone is, especially the younger they are. They just don't understand. Management takes time. And that's where training people really come in and teach them some basics. And then you work on the higher level, development type opportunities. That's making these people really get the most out of their people, where we are missing it. And so I really believe that there's a two-pronged approach to this whole thing. There's training and development, of course, of the masses, if you will, the majority of your work population. And then there's the management training and development. If you're not doing both, you're going to continue to have churn, and we're not going to be able to get the most out of our people. They will not be most productive. They will not be high-performing assets because we haven't figured out how to teach their managers to be managers and how to develop them into executives. That's a really key part of what we're all doing. Finally, this whole thing about it's all about the people and is HR important and how do we, sort of step up to the table, how does HR drive business? Let me tell you, there are three things that are happening that let us know that this world is real and that we all have job security if we do our jobs halfway decently. One is that the baby boomers are retiring. That's just a demographic reality. We know that by the year 2012, just 5 years from now, that the American workforce will require 165 million people to perform jobs, and our best numbers tell us that there will only be 162 million workers. So there's a 3 million person deficit we know right now, and it's only going to get worse. So we know that. The second thing we know is there's now worldwide competition for talent, not only in the offshoring, even in your most basic of jobs, they're now going offshore, and people are competing for those. But, it was a day when an MBA came out and competed, and Coca-Cola and Procter & Gamble and, the big IBMs competed for that talent. Now it's Telstra in Australia, Nedbank in South Africa. There are companies, Life of Jamaica in Jamaica, that are competing for U.S. talent. So our best talent aren't stuck, sort of on this continent called North America and in this country called the United States. There's worldwide competition. I don't know about many of you, but I'm amazed now at the number of headhunter calls I receive now from people outside of the country. The first call, I thought they were confused. I said, me? But this was in South Africa, looking for a head of HR for a huge organization. The competition now is fierce. And if we don't figure this out, America will be at a global disadvantage. We'll not be able to compete globally. And then finally, this is a new economy. This new economy demands smart people, not just at the senior levels. I think about my last EA. I went through about 8 executive assistants. The first 6 weeks I was on the job, I'd like 2 days in say, dumb, can't do that. Not smart, can't do that. And it wasn't because the person didn't show up to work on time and they weren't dressed in a nice little blue suit and they didn't know. They had all of that stuff, but they weren't smart. My engineers aren't the only people on our team who need to be smart. My accountants aren't the only people who need to be smart. We need everyone in our organization to be smart and curious. And that's where organizations like you all, that's where organizations like Learn.com, who are absolutely focused on making sure that we take people who may not be inherently smart and you make them smart, because it's going to make the difference between whether our organizations succeed or fail. Smart people at all levels. So don't poo-poo the training that's being done on customer service call center people, because if you sat on the phone like I did in New York this weekend with US Scare, I'm so pissed I'll never fly them. It makes a difference. So that frontline person, enough of those and you go out of business. So every person in your organization matters. Everything that you do matters, and training and development is absolutely going to be the game changer in HR. Because remember, the CEO said to me, if you can find the right people and help us keep the right people, then that's what HR should be doing every day. Anything else that doesn't fit into sort of those two sort of directions, sort of visions, mission statements, finding people, keeping people, doesn't matter. And that's what we should really focus on. So I got to thank you all so much for your time this morning. I really appreciate you. Have a great couple of days in Fort Lauderdale while I go back to New York this afternoon. Thank you very much.